As an atheist and a former Christian, I am frequently confronted by Christians claiming that Jesus was real and I should believe in him again. These Christians fail to realize that I do believe Jesus existed. I believe he has even been crucified. I do not believe he was dead. There are a few possibilities. Either he was the actual Son of God, a con artist, a mentally deranged man, or a normal man that had embellished stories written about him after his death. We can examine evidence to determine which of these is most likely. For those who are not sure he existed, there are several people that have written about the existence of Jesus outside of the Bible. Cornelius Tacitus in 55 AD wrote that Christ suffered at the hands of Pontius Pilate. This is an example of a non-biblical writer recording the existence of Jesus. There are several others. These writings make a strong argument for the existence of Jesus. But did Jesus have powers? In the past few decades, several people have claimed to be God or a messenger from God. But in today's society, these people are seen as con artists or delusional. There are a few who fall under the spell of deception and believe these people really have some magical powers or believe they are God. But the rest of us are not fooled. We know these people are not special and have no magical powers. We see their followers in highly emotional states claiming their new friend is the Messiah, and we know they have been deceived or brainwashed. David Koresh made claims like this and had many people believing his deceit. Now he is dead, but there are still people who believe he was God. Yes, there are a few Branch Davidians still around. If his followers pass these beliefs on to their children and friends, in the future they may become just as numerous as the followers of other religions. Why is this any different than Muhammad, Joseph Smith, Marshall Applewhite, Jim Jones, or Jesus? We can clearly see that people that make these ludicrous claims today are not magical. Why is it any different when the story is passed down for thousands of years? Does the passage of time make the story more valid? Not one shred of evidence was left by any of Jesus' alleged miracles. Due to the lack of evidence and the sheer ridiculous nature of the stories, I do not believe Jesus had any magical powers and was not the son of any god. So, was Jesus a con artist? At the time of Jesus' life, knowledge about the world was only a fraction of what it is today. This advance is not just in science. People now question things that sound either too good to be true or not realistic. This type of questioning mind is far more advanced than primitive man. We know today that if a man is seen walking on water, it is just a trick. If we see someone claiming to bend spoons with their mind, they are simply using sleight of hand. No magical powers are needed to perform these deceptions. I am not claiming everyone today is a skeptic. Unfortunately, we still have people today who believe in ESP, psychics, ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, unicorns, dragons, and faith healers. These are the same people that would most likely believe in someone claiming to be a Messiah. Would it have been easier to fool people in the first century? Imagine if Houdini had time traveled back to the first century and performed his illusions for hundreds of people and also claimed to be the Son of God. Then today we would likely have millions of Houdini churches with all of the followers worshiping the magician. So was Jesus a con artist like Peter Popoff or Uri Geller, or did he really believe he had powers? Most magicians and psychics are trying to make money with their tricks. According to the outside biblical references to Jesus, he seemed to be a humble man and not very wealthy. Therefore, I do not believe he was knowingly trying to deceive people for material gain. He did not seem to gain any wealth or social status with his claims. So, was Jesus delusional? If Jesus really believed he was the Son of God and believed he possessed magical powers, he was delusional. This seems likely because Jesus was willing to die for his beliefs. Although being willing to die for a belief does not make the belief true. The Branch Davidians were willing to burn alive in the Waco compound for their delusion, and Muslims are certainly willing to blow themselves up for their beliefs. But dying for a belief is the ultimate sacrifice. It shows a true commitment and shows the person truly does believe their claim. If any charlatan today was threatened with their life because of their alleged powers, they would most likely admit to the scam to save themselves. Jesus was never recorded denouncing his claims. But Were the stories about his teachings accurate? The New Testament stories of Jesus were written long after he died. Paul did not write about Jesus until long after Jesus' death, and the Gospels were not written until after that. These stories could have been embellished to make Jesus look powerful and divine. To a first-century mind, these miracles seem possible, and adding them to the stories may have seemed like a good way to promote Christianity. It is possible that Jesus never even claimed to do miracles. The miracles may have been added to these spoken stories. Imagine telling your friend of something spectacular you just saw. How accurate is your story? Maybe you stretched the truth just a bit to make the story sound more exciting. You may have even done it on accident. Just like other legends, the story of Jesus was first passed down by word of mouth and eventually written down. This word of mouth passing is where the story could have been altered to such a degree the end result might barely resemble the truth. Jesus may not have even claimed to be the Son of God. He could have been a very wise man that taught people to love one another and to be kind to everyone without the magical additions. But in an attempt to make Jesus impressive, the storytellers may have fabricated the miracles, the Son of God claim, the virgin birth, the resurrection, and the ascension. I think this is a plausible explanation. It's a shame, too. They may have taken a man who could have possibly been one of history's great philosophers of love and human understanding and made his story so unbelievable that people question his very existence. Their intentions may have been good, but the truth would have been better. For me, I believe Jesus existed and was a good man with some wise teachings, even without the miracles. Actions are more important than beliefs.